was the airbag, and that's the end of my trip. Good morning. It's Tuesday, about 9 o'clock. I need to finish packing up here, and the plan is to head into Moab and pick up some groceries, get some water, maybe get a shower, and visit the BLM office. And from there I will head out and try and find either another campsite on a canyon edge like this one, or maybe down in the canyon. Not sure which. I'm going to probably do both in the next couple of days, but I'm not sure which one's first. It's going to take a little while to get out of here. Good evening. It's about 6:15
and I made it out to the end of the point. This time I've got a view over the hill, overlooking the Green River, and the canyon's not near as deep at this point, and it's not as wide either. The cliffs that you see over here behind me are the other side of the river, and the river is just down over the cliff there. So it's, I don't know, a couple 100 feet down, but still a nice view, and this should make for a nice sunrise. And hopefully with the clouds, you might have a nice sunset as well. The road in is recently graded, so it was very smooth going for the most part, except for places where the grader had to fight with sandstone. Sandy in a few places, but not deep sand. Right now I've got the place to myself. I haven't seen any other vehicles this far out for camping, so hopefully it'll stay that way. For now, it's just enjoy another relaxing evening on a cliff overlooking a river.
Good morning. This place is utterly silent. There's no wind, no birds, the occasional sound of a jetliner flying overhead, and the sounds that I make. I have seen 2 birds fly up from the river and then back down again, and that was about it. It's spectacularly beautiful, and I'm enjoying it completely. Today I plan to try and drive down into the canyon and possibly camp down beside the river. I found this device. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And these giant cables, partially buried. I'm not sure if they were put here to stabilize the hill, or if they're remnants of prospecting activity. More cables, much smaller than the others. And something made out of wood and rubber. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but this entire area has been bulldozed over. I'm thinking this was possibly an old mine area. This area was mined and prospected for uranium in the 1950s. That's why most of the roads are here. And some old barbed wire. This whole area has been smoothed out by a bulldozer. After leaving camp, I headed back on the road I'd come in on. At one point, I took a side road to another canyon rim overlooking the river.
I decided to take a shortcut to the road that leads down to the river. This ended up causing lots of problems. Airbag. I am screwed. Well, that was the airbag, and that's the end of my trip. So my problem is that the airbag compressor will run continuously and probably burn up if I tried to drive it. So I think what I need to do is I'm going to jack up the wheel, see if I can find anything out of place, and then probably have to remove the fuse for the air compressor just to get home. So I will be driving on 3 corners with no suspension on the right rear. Now I just got to find a way to jack it all up. All 5 wheels that are not being jacked are chalked, including the 2 trailer tires. And they're resting on the chocks with the brake applied. But I don't think I can get this jack under here. Under the axle anyway. It's too tall. I could go with the factory jack. This one has a jack stand on it as well. I could do it on the I could lift on the trailer hitch. That's probably not a great idea. It's not enough to get the wheel off the ground, but that'll give me a little bit more view underneath. And yep, the airbag is out of place. And it's hard to tell because I'm not super, oh yeah. It just overextended and popped out of its pocket. I guess its mount. So it's sideways and it's probably beyond repair, but maybe not. Maybe it's the ear line that broke. Regardless, I need to get the wheel off so I can see. It broke out of its perch. I can get out the factory jack and jack the axle up a little bit. Get the wheel off. But I don't know if the fender liner's still in the way or what. Good old Toyota crank-up jack. I'm sure glad I took a shower this morning. And there's not a good flat spot where the jack is resting. Yes, it's completely blown. That's the bottom of the airbag, and the rubber is supposed to go over the top of that, and it's supposed to be roughly vertical and resting on a perch. So it's kicked sideways off its perch and snapped the bag, blew the bag. But you got nothing but time now. Not in a hurry to go anywhere. But I think we're in a drivable position, albeit without any rear suspension. So this is why everybody switches to spring coil conversion on the Lexus GX 470. I've been warned, but I still like the auto leveling of the airbags for towing. So I'm probably going to look into aftermarket airbags. I'm going to have some lunch here in the shade. And I guess my next move is to get out of here back to the highway as safely as possible. It's probably going to be slow, probably take me all afternoon, It's already 3:30. I don't know where I'll camp tonight. I'll see how it acts on pavement. And I don't know how many miles. I've just got that butte over there as the end of the four-wheel drive road. So it's maybe 2 miles to get out onto gravel, smooth gravel that I came in on, maybe less, and then it's pretty much smooth sailing from there, so to speak. And I'll see how the suspension does between here and there, and decide what my next move is, I guess. Probably just heading directly for home and taking it easy, since I don't think I've got any rear suspension at all. I don't know if one side's going to work or not, but I'll find that out before too long here. Step 1, get off the trail. Step 2, get to the highway. And step 3, find a camp spot nearby. And then go from there. That's probably about going to be the rest of my day. This is not how I expected the trip to end, though. I figured I'd have another night or two in the canyon and then start heading for home. Didn't even make it to the canyon. Well, good morning. I've got an update. I crept out of the trail and back onto the graded road and made it pretty much without incident. I had a little bit of dragging, but didn't have any major problems. And I got almost out to paved road where I was able to get cell signal and made contact with the GXOR group, GX Off-Road group on Facebook, and there were some helpful suggestions there, and the guy that runs it, Dan, actually made contact with someone in Moab that he knows that he thought had a spare airbag. Turns out he did. We made contact late last night. He was able to, at 11 o'clock last night, to bring me not only the airbag, but a couple of jack stands, a pair of long reach needle nose pliers, and a floor jack. So he has left that with me, and I am going to use those items to replace the airbag this morning here. I found a little clearing on a side road off of the graded road, and so I'm about to start jacking things up and taking it all apart. That's going to be hopefully just my morning, but as long as it takes to get it done, I guess, since I can't really move very well otherwise. On the four-wheel drive road, best I could do is about 2 or 3 miles an hour. On the graded road, best I could do was probably about 10, maybe 12 when it was really smooth. About all I could do on pavement as well, just because it's not perfectly smooth either. Hopefully this airbag, it's a takeoff from another GX, and so hopefully it's in good condition where at least it'll get me home. That's about all I really need, is to get home. So I'm not going to do any more off-road travel. I'm only about a mile or so from pavement. I just need to get myself and my trailer and my GX home. So now I can drop the airbag down, and there we go. So everything's now deformed from riding on no air for the last 10 miles or so, but that's the airbag. This is just a protective cover. So hopefully the other airbag is in good enough shape to hold air for another 1,000 miles or so to get home and get proper replacements. It's only held in place with that clip on the top, and it sits into its lower perch with this pin, and then raise it up into place, secure it with that clip, if I can get it in place with the limited space. I don't know how I'm going to get that inside out like it's supposed to go. But these old bones don't work the way they used to. I'm going to have to reverse down on itself somehow and then reinflate. But the nipple's not coming up through the hole yet in its current state, so I'm going to raise up the axle a little bit and try and push it into place.
Good morning. As you can see, I'm in the same location. Things didn't work out as planned fully yesterday. I was able to get the bag installed and get everything back down on the ground, and the problem was that suspension would not fully inflate. And after doing some testing and checking, found the driver's side airbag also seems to be having a problem. I got it all back down on the ground and found that it wasn't working. After going back and forth with Mark, he decided to come back out yesterday evening and brought me the driver's side airbag for the set that he had. So I have got to do the driver's side today, and hopefully that will resolve my issue. What I found was that there is some pressure holding in the passenger side, so that one is holding air, but the driver's side will not inflate, and I had not touched the driver's side, so either it was damaged when the passenger blew out on the trail, or it was damaged in the drive back on the bump stops over the last 10 miles or so of mostly graded dirt road. So let's go ahead and get this started.
So yeah, there's definitely more room on the driver's side between the air compressor right there and the fuel tank in the front. This will be a little more challenging.
But I got it all back together, and the bag seems to be holding. And as you can see, I've got suspension lift. It's at the highest setting right now. And I'm going to take it for a test drive and adjust the different height settings.
It's late afternoon, 4:15. I left Moab about 30 minutes ago and decided to provide an update. Taking you back to Thursday and Friday. Thursday I installed the first bag that Mark brought on the passenger side. When I got it all in, the airbags would not inflate. Did a little more checking and found that the driver's side airbag was also blown, would not hold air. And so that evening, Mark brought out a left-hand airbag. I installed that on Friday morning. I got it installed, both of the airbags inflated. I took it for a short drive to make sure that the airbags were properly seated. Came back to camp, cycled through the height settings, was set to high. The compressor was running and it was raising up, and all of a sudden the left-hand bag blew up. So it had issues from sitting for a while. But the right-hand bag was still holding air. So I decided to pack everything up, drive down into Moab, because I had almost no cell service where I was on the mesa, and no easy access to anybody there. So with one airbag, I figured I could limp into town and at least become a little more accessible and have a way to contact either help or whatever. Friday afternoon, early afternoon, drove into Moab. I got in contact with Moab Mark again, and we decided to install the brand new spare aftermarket airbag that he had. He was keeping as a spare. We did that late Friday evening. Got it installed, decided to check the passenger side, which had been good at some point, but by the time I got to his house and got the other one installed, it had probably deflated and completely failed. So now we had one good aftermarket airbag and no way to get another one for at least a couple of days. So I ended up staying the weekend at Mark's place and camped out at the road beside his house. And he had ordered quick service via Amazon Prime, another matching airbag to be delivered on Monday. Monday was yesterday. The bag arrived mid-afternoon, installed it without any real issues, but the air compressor would not switch on. Finally, we tinkered around a little bit underneath, got the compressor to run, drove it around the block, and parked it for the night. And in the morning, I hooked up the trailer, and of course, that adds extra load, and the compressor would not turn on again. So I was going to head for home anyway, but the rear end was sagging. So I decided to go back to Mark's, did a little more troubleshooting. I pulled down the passenger side right height sensor, and in wiggling that around, actually got the compressor to start up. Put everything back together, and that's where I'm at. So it worked for a while. It has worked for a little while. I will keep a close eye on it, but decided to head for home after that. I may or may not have a working compressor, but most likely the problem is related to ride height sensors. I will keep a close eye on it, make sure that I'm not sagging too much. Head for home. It's now Tuesday after 4, and I may get home tomorrow night, but more likely Thursday morning.